So guys, I like my pop head figures. I like them in Stannis or Oberyn size.
Hey! You know what? We didn't actually see them enter the camp. We're not for sure that that's them. I've got a theory.
A theory. Okay.
Sure. And there's still another episode to go, so we could still
No. Hey, yeah, but I believe the rules were whoever dies first.
Yeah, but we each name two people. So if you get your second person wrong, but I get both mine right, then I would.
No. But that wasn't the rules. The rules were first person, and then the second person is the tiebreaker.
It's true.
If you want to say you won, that's fine. I'll do it. I'm just saying I don't think that it was because of Ramsay.
I think he died because of Ramsay, indirectly, but still as a result of Ramsay burning all the food. And then Stannis' tummy got a little rumbly, and he's like, you know what? I think I'll burn my daughter.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Cast Beyond the Wall. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and I'm here to review this week's episode, The Dance of Dragons, on WeGotThisCovered.com. I have never seen an episode of Game of Thrones that took us to the highest of highs and the lowest of lows within 20 minutes. So to discuss this exceptional episode, this episode of great feats, I introduced to you my co-host and the Southern Deserts. Sir, introduce yourself.
Austin Lucari.
My bearded friend further north, closer to the wall.
Daniel Stahl.
We are all back together to talk about this glorious episode, gloriously heart-wrenching episode of Game of Thrones, The Dance with Dragons. But before we go in-depth and do a breakdown here of every scene by scene, we have to break the ice the same way we always do, and that's with the fun little question of the week. So obviously, the big set piece this week, and one of the biggest of the season, was the big epic battle in the arena. You know, reminds me, there's a lot of great arena movie battles out there in TV movies, and some conventional, some not so conventional. Obviously, Gladiator being the most obvious choice out there, and we rolled that one out because that one's no fun. So I wanted to talk about some other, arena movies to kind of get the juices flowing, so we can talk more about Game of Thrones. And I'll start with you, Austin. What is one of your favorite arena battles in a movie or TV?
I think its favorite, not because it's good, but because it's hilarious, would be Karate Kid. The last fight scene with the one giant blonde-headed dude who's just beating the crap out of the Karate Kid, like just smacking him around. And all of a sudden, he's like, hey, I can do this one crane kick thing that's like a one-hit KO. I should have started off with this, but I think I'll do it now after I'm like half dead.
Finish him!
If you want to really be an underdog, you have to let the big guy beat the crap out of you first, okay, Austin? Make sure about a story.
That's what Jorah did, so.
And Jorah is amazing. Guys, can I talk about how awesome Jorah is? I'm so happy.
Later. You can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. But first, I want to hear about Daniel. Daniel, do you have any favorite big arena battle movies and TV?
So I'm actually going to go with an unconventional one as well. I'm going to talk, but by doing this, I'm actually breaking rule number 1 and rule number 2. So I don't really know if I should do this, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to say Fight Club. Like I said, I know I just broke rules 1 and 2, so I know they're coming for me. But
his name was Daniel Stahl. His name was Daniel Stahl. His name, Austin, come on. His name was Daniel Stahl. That's a great pick because Fight Club, first off, Stahl, you're out. Second off, a bunch of dudes lining up around each other, beating the crap out of each other. I think that definitely counts as some great gladiatorial combat right there. No questions about that. So if you're one of those middle-aged dudes who's feeling a little hollow about their life because they're working for corporate America, who also happens to watch Game of Thrones, I think Fight Club's the movie for you. Well, I'm going to go with my pick, which is actually, I've had Mad Max on the brain lately because of the new movie, which, FYI, if you have not seen it, go drop what you're doing now and go see it because it's amazing. But I've had it on my mind a lot, and I was thinking big arena battles, and nothing beats the Thunderdome.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Nothing beats Tina Turner saying, "Welcome to the Thunderdome!" And you know what's so great is I did not watch Thunderdome until like a month and a half ago now. So I had no idea. I mean, I knew the pop culture reference to it. And I started watching it, and I was so upset because I was like, why did no one tell me that the Thunderdome was a bouncy house? I mean, I was like, they're all slingshot around in the cage and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've been missing out on this for my entire adult life. How could people let this go? It's a great little arena, definitely non-conventional, but definitely gladiatorial style combat. Mono, e-mono, and 2 may enter, 1 may leave. So definitely go check out. I don't care how bonkers you think Thunderdome, the movie, is, or if you haven't seen it, it's pretty stinking bonkers, okay? Go check it out, and if nothing else, get on YouTube and watch the battle in the Thunderdome, because it's really great, lots of fun. All right, guys, well, I think it's time. We've talked enough about bouncy houses and midlife crises. I think it's time for us to go ahead to get into our discussion of this week's episode, The Dance of Dragons.
You can swear your allegiance to me now, or you can die.
The girl has work to do.
If a man knows what he is, he must fulfill his destiny.
They're waiting for you.
Before we do a scene-by-scene breakdown, I wanted to hear what you guys thought of the episode kind of overall. So I want to start with you, Austin. What did you make of this week's episode, The Dance of Dragons?
It was, once again, a fantastic episode. I have people saying it's the best of the season. I disagree with that, personally, because I don't think anything beats last week. And personally, I don't think anything in the whole series beats last week. But it was a good episode. The arena scene obviously was spectacular. I did actually think some of the graphics when Daenerys is actually flying away were a little bit spotty, but it's still television. This isn't a movie, so I can't fault them too much for that. It's still head and shoulders above everything else on television. But
are you talking about when Daenerys was mounted Falcor and they flew away up in the sky? Okay, that's pretty much what it looked like. Little did you guys know this was all a prequel to the Never-Ending Story 4.
I'm cool with that. That can happen. So, but yeah, overall, very good. Graphics, they showed a little bit because they were trying to do probably a little bit more than they were capable of doing. But I'm fine with it. It was still cool.
Austin, I'm totally with you on that one. They were very, very ambitious with the arena battle. And I would say, by and large, they pulled it off. But there were certainly a couple times where, more so than some of the other action set pieces we've seen on the show, it shows a little bit. But I am certainly not going to fault them for being very ambitious and, for the most part, pulling it off in spades. There are a couple times that show just a little bit. I still think it looks head and shoulders better than any other CG we see on TV. And so, I mean, I just didn't quite hit the cinematic quality of, 250 million blockbusters like Avengers, but it's a show that gets $6 million per episode. So, all right, well, Austin, I appreciate your thoughts there. Daniel, what did you make of this week's episode?
I thought this was a pretty solid episode. I didn't think it was as good as last week's, which is fine. I think it, like you said, it did a really good job with the arena scene. It was very ambitious, and I think that they pulled that off. So I think it was a really, really well done episode. I think it's going to be, depending on what happens last week, the second best episode of the season. I probably wouldn't put it up there with one of the, once the series ends, we'll definitely remember this episode, but I don't know if it'll reach top 5 or top 10 if that makes sense. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good, solid episode.
I would agree with both of you guys. I don't think this was the strongest episode of the season. I don't think it quite topped Hard Home. I mean, the shock and awe that we experienced in Hard Home is just, it's kind of hard to beat. None of us were expecting it, and it was brutal. And it was also something we'd never seen on the show before. Now, that's not to say we'd seen Daenerys mount a dragon and fly away. We obviously have not seen that before, but that sequence was unlike anything else I think we've experienced on the show, whereas this felt like another big action set piece. A very, very well-executed one, I might add. I was thinking about this. This is episode 9, which, of course, on Game of Thrones has the reputation for being the big moment episode, the big episode of the season. And I think this is probably the second weakest episode 9. Now, that's not to say it is a weak episode, because it is not. This is an absolutely exceptional episode. I think the two biggest moments that we're going to talk about with Stannis and Daenerys really hit home why we all love this show. The emotional energy was off the charts with this one, and I think the other scenes were, for the most part, better. But overall, I would say, I think it tops last season's episode 9, the Battle at the Wall, because I honestly, while it was technically impressive, wasn't really a big fan of that episode. But I think as far as topping the Red Wedding, not even close. Topping the Battle at Blackwater, no, it doesn't touch that. And it's hard to compare it to like Ned's beheading in season 1, because that's just that was the episode that kind of like broke your Game of Thrones virginity. So it's just hard to make that comparison, because you're like, oh my gosh, this can happen on this show. So I would put it definitely above Watchers on the Wall, but certainly not up there with any of the other episode 9. Still, overall though, very exceptional TV.
You put Blackwater over Watchers on the Wall?
Yes, I put Blackwater as probably the second best episode 9. Watchers on the Wall was technically impressive, but what made Blackwater so exciting was the stake. I mean, obviously, I thought the technical achievement was great. It was one of the best sieges I've ever seen on anything, in movie, TV, whatever. But also, like, the stakes there. You had Tyrion, who you loved on one side, but then he was fighting for Joffrey, so you kind of wanted him to lose a little bit. And then you had Bronn, too. While you on Team Stannis, you had Stannis, who we didn't like, but you had Davos, who you really, really liked, him and his son at that point. And you're like, I don't want to see them die. So it's like you had people on both sides that you really, really loved. And outside of that, there were just like little moments, like the one between the Hound and Bronn where they almost fight, and like little stuff like that. Just or the scene when Stannis, they start beating the drums, they just really captured the atmosphere. Watchers on the Wall, while good and technically impressive, the emotional stakes just were not there for me, because I'm sorry, Egret's death didn't hit home.
I think that's fair. I always put Blackwater at the bottom. I still do at this point.
We talked about this last week, and I think the show did a good job of this. I don't feel like the show was trying to top last week. I think they were trying to just show us something different. And I know we had discussed, we think that's what they should have done with this episode, and I think they did a nice job of doing that. I didn't feel like they were trying to top last week's. I felt like they were just trying to continue on with the storytelling and show us something a little bit different than last week. And so I feel like they did a decent job of that.
It was the juxtaposition between ice and fire.
Yes. I was gonna totally say that. Like last week we had this like ending with a huge ice moment, and then this week we had an ending with a fire moment. It was just a nice little theme going on there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree, and it was a little nice juxtaposition. And I think by and large, I actually agree. I think they did succeed for the most part in not trying to replicate what they did the same feeling we had last week. This was totally like more of a blockbuster action set piece versus last week, which I thought was like almost out of a horror movie. So, yeah, I think they succeeded. Now that you know what we think about the episode, let's go ahead and do a scene-by-scene breakdown here. And first off, we're going to pick up right where we left off with the wall from last week, where Jon, we saw him rowing away on the boat, and second scene of the episode, we come back and it's Jon and Alliser Thorne's conflicted. He's just standing up there watching, and he's like, "Oh no, this isn't good news. This is not good." He's conflicted. It's almost like I kept thinking the whole time he was like one of the stinky Frenchmen from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, just sitting up there thinking about taunting them. I was like, where's the taunt? Where's the cow? It's coming. It's coming.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
It was cool though, and then but you saw that man of his word, he's honorable. He's respectable. He let Jon back in. And he had a great little line where he said, "You've got a good heart, Jon Snow. It's going to get us all killed."
I love Alliser Thorne now. Like, this whole season, he's like earned my respect. He is my new favorite hard ass in the show.
No, I agree. They planted the seeds last season. For me, they planted the seeds last season when you saw him on the Battle on the Wall and he gave that speech that we've referenced a couple times. You're like, you know what? I don't like him, but he's respectable as a leader. And then everything he's done this season, I'm like, he's honorable. He hates Jon he hates the heck out of Jon, which is why we initially didn't like him. But he's following the rules. He's doing what he thinks is right. Even he's doing what the Night's Watch calls for, even if it's something he personally doesn't agree with, which is very respectable. Did you guys? Have any thoughts? Any other thoughts about this scene? It was pretty brief, so it wasn't a lot to take from it, but extrapolate from it.
We got to talk about Ollie a little bit. At least mention it.
Darth Ollie. He's standing in the shadows.
He's scary, man. He's Arya. That's what he is, and I don't I don't trust him one bit.
Oh, come on, Austin. He's just a teenager. Teenagers get emo sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Teenagers totally don't make rash decisions ever at any point.
Okay, so what do you think he could possibly do, Austin? What do you think he could do that would have much of an impact?
He could kill people.
Okay, what's he going to do? Kill Tormund?
No, he's going to kill Jon.
Oh.
Could, potentially.
You think he'd do that?
I mean, I don't think he's going to.
This is the dude who saved Jon's life by killing his lover.
Yeah, but, I mean, obviously he's not happy with Jon, so he could kill him.
I don't like the sound of that. Okay, well, Austin, do you think they killed Jon Snow off?
No, I don't think they're going to, but I think he'll try.
Okay. It's interesting prediction. We'll see how it goes. I mean,
and then Jon has to behead him, and then he feels really bad, and he ends up just like Stannis.
I don't think Jon would do that.
You don't think he had a kid who tried to kill people? He did it with Janos Slynt.
He did.
Yeah, but this is a kid too. I think Jon would make a line in the sand there. I think
he's Ned Stark through and through. And that kid's dead.
And then
I don't think Ned.
I don't know if Ned would do it either. He would punish him in some other way. I think because he's a kid.
Gonna flay him, send him down the Boltons.
Gonna flay. Oh my gosh. So guys,
I don't know. I just have a hard time buying Jon. I mean, you could be right, but I don't think I could see Jon. Now I agree that Ollie could definitely be up to something, but I don't think that he will succeed. And I also don't think that Jon would respond by killing him. Now he would probably have some sort of punishment for him.
Send him north of the wall. Go give him some scare. Give him a scare tactic. Go take him north of the wall. Face the White Walkers down eye to eye. Scare him back in line. You mentioned Arya, and I think that's a great segue here, where we can talk a little bit about Arya's storyline in Braavos. And as they set up last week, she begins that mission. She's going to poison the gambler, the thin man, as watching on. And hey, there he is. But wait. There's a boat from King's Landing. Hey, wait a second. That guy looks familiar. Oh my gosh, it's Meryn Trant. And she totally blows her mission and stalks him. And, guys, I got to say, personal opinion here, and you can totally disagree. I felt very Assassin's Creed in all of the wrong ways in this little sequence here. I was not a fan of Arya's storyline this week. I wasn't a fan of the execution. I wasn't a fan of the plot, and I wasn't a fan of. Well, I like the idea of the scene we're going into, but that's about it. But yeah, I mean, she stalks him. We run back into Tycho Nesters. He's the banker, the Iron Banker, and he's working with them. And then we find out Meryn Trant's a bad dude who is a pedophile, but we already kind of knew that. So. I don't know.
And we get to hear some beautiful singing by our own Mr. Tyrell.
I could listen to that guy in opera. You guys, I had Friday nights open. I think we should go to an opera. Tyrell.
I think I actually disagree with you, Kev. I actually really not enjoyed, but I wasn't dissatisfied. I was satisfied with this Arya scene this week. It was definitely slow, and it's definitely preparing for something, which I'm super excited for. If that's what's going to happen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I am super excited. But I think it showed still a lot. Well, not a lot. But I feel like it showed a significant amount about her character. That yes, she is trying to do this faceless thing, but as soon as something from her past came along, she immediately gave up what she was doing and immediately turned to her past, to her vengeance that she wanted and desired.
Because a girl is not nobody.
So I think it showed definitely that she's not converted to this faceless man thing yet, and right now it's just a tool for her, and she's not in. I thought maybe she might be a little bit more involved in them, but I think this shows that she's not yet, and that she is very much still.
She's not fully committed,
right? And I mean that's not a huge deal, I guess yet, but I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the setup. I guess I'm just excited to. See, I guess I know that there's going to be some sort of payout, and I wanted to get there. I'm excited for that.
How many? Okay, here's the thing, and I love Arya. Okay, I love Arya. I do, and I love that we get to see Arya. And initially, I just expected more to happen. And I know you're training and everything, but this storyline has moved at a snail's pace, and I feel like we've defended it so far because it's Arya. But I mean, like looking back, nothing has happened. Tell me what has changed with her now, and that she's a little bit better at lying, I guess.
I think next week's episode is going to be a big change for Arya.
Yeah, after a season of slogging through not much though. That's my problem.
I agree, but I think it was obvious to a lot of people. But Meryn Trant, pedophile, and as he's walking away, he's like, "I expect another one tomorrow." Well, who exactly do you think that's going to be?
Oh yeah, no, exactly. No, she's going back. She's totally going back. She's going to do that, and she's going to kill him in like some really twisted, screwed up way.
She's going to go full Ramsay Bolton on him is what she's going to do.
Yeah, you could say that. And for those of you who don't remember, Meryn Trant, we want to remind you, I mean, he is a recurring character, but I want to remind you, this was the dude who beat Sansa up by the request of Joffrey back in Season 2. Just kind of Joffrey's little henchman, did whatever he said, and now, obviously, by extension, Cersei's henchman, and obviously not a very pleasant person.
It definitely has been slower, but I don't know. I guess I've liked the slower pace this season, and Arya is just my favorite character, so I guess I'm completely biased in that sense.
Well, no, and that's the thing. I'm not opposed to slow. I think a lot of the stuff that's gone on that's been a little slower moving is great. I love characters kind of having that existential, having to raise questions where they're trying to re-identify who they are. I love that, and that was okay for Arya. But my point is, she had season-wide, she hasn't really changed that much. That's the thing. Slow is fine. For slow's sake, to kill time is, especially with her who has essentially been running in place for like 2 seasons now, is wearing on me, and I just can't keep defending her storyline because it's Arya. Although I love Arya, so don't get me wrong, she's gonna do awesome stuff. I have no doubts about that.
I agree. Weak scene, not the weakest of this episode though. So
not it was in my mind it was pretty close, but no, it was not.
I don't think it was. I don't know if it's the next scene or not. I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as the Dorne scene.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of the strongest scenes either. I just like seeing Arya.
Yeah,
so.
no, I too. I'm ready to see her kill some fools or do something. And again, I don't want to be the one person to bring the baggage and be like, oh, well, the books are this, because I don't like that. But in the books, she actually went out and did stuff.
Here we go.
I know. No, because I hate people who do this. And here's my thing. I'm just wondering why they didn't take more of a note. They didn't have to follow it exactly. That's okay. That's not the problem. My point is, she actually went and did stuff other than like, this is the first thing we've seen her go out and do, and it's taken them 3 episodes for her to actually do it. Like one thing. I'm like, really, people, this should have been like, this all could have been done in 1 episode. Them setting up what her mission was, her going to the mission, running to Meryn Trant, and then her killing Meryn Trant could have been done in 1 episode. So the fact that they're stretching it over 3 episodes is what's getting to me. That's all I'm saying is, in the book, she actually goes out and does other things, like in Braavos, which is really cool and exciting. She has not done that this season. And in my mind, it's not like a weak, not only is it weak adaptation, which is fine. Adaptation is not the problem to me. The problem is, I know that they could be doing more interesting things with her, but they're choosing not to. I don't, because of time, because of money, or just because they don't want to have to write. I don't really know exactly why, but it's frustrating.
For what it's worth, Caleb, I actually agree with you. So.
Oh, okay. No, okay.
I'll be the odd one out today.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Because here's the thing, and there are a lot of people who do love this storyline, and I think there are interesting things going on here. I don't want to. Anyway, enough about the point. Let's round this conversation with this out, because again, we there's not really a lot to talk about here as far as advancement, but. I think the big question mark at the end of the scene is: do you think Jaqen actually bought the fact that she lied?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so either. But I just want to check because there was some debate out there that he bought it.
But I think
that this was what he intended. I think that he knew that Meryn Trant was coming somehow, and when he said "you'll find what you need to see," this is what he meant. And so when she lied to him about it, I don't know if he thinks that her lie was satisfactory or not. But this is what he intended to happen, I think.
Okay, that's
there.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. That's really cool, and that very much a possibility. Now the question is, if that's the case, that would mean this is a test. And if it was a test, did she pass or did she fail? Or has that yet to be seen?
Well, if I'm right, I mean I could be wrong, but if I'm right that it was about Meryn Trant the whole time, then she passes. But if it's not, then she fails because her mission was to go after this man, and then she diverted from that plan and went on to something else.
We'll see how Arya's storyline winds up. I think it's going to be a pretty satisfying, despite my complaints here, I do think it's going to be a pretty satisfying conclusion. But let's go ahead and move on to an even weaker story. I make no argument, an even weaker story down in Dorne.
We have to talk about it?
We have to talk about it. This is the elephant in the room. We can't not talk about it, guys. In Game of Thrones, here's a hard heart to honesty. what the hell? Who is writing these scenes? Who thought these scenes sounded good when they were filming them? Who thought they were good in the editing room? Like, I don't understand.
The only redeeming thing about this entire storyline is we got introduced to actually, I think, a very awesome character we don't yet know much about. The internet used to refer to Stannis as Stannis the Manus. They are now referring to Doran Martell as Doran the Man.
Doran the Man. Oh, I vote for Doran the Man. He should run a campaign on that.
Yeah, he's great. He's the smartest, most fair, compassionate, intelligent leader that we have seen in the entire series.
Yeah, because he's not greedy. He just wants to rule his country and be left alone, and he'll do whatever it takes to maintain peace.
At the same time, I believe in second chances, but I do not believe in thirds.
Okay, and I think that's a very important line. We can get to that in a second, though.
Yeah, so I just want to point out, actually, you know what would have made this scene a lot better?
If it didn't happen.
Well, if it didn't happen, 1. 2.
If Jaime was in the...
If Jaime was in the Riverlands, yes!
Yeah.
You know what would make this scene a lot better? A laugh track. With all these awkward lines that feel like out of a sitcom, like that scene where she dumps the glass out and then all you need is a laugh track there, and it makes it much better. See, hold on. Let me go ahead and play it for you guys. See how this sounds.
Please, sit. Princess Marcella.
Uncle?
What a lovely dress.
You don't like it?
You must be cold.
Not at all. The Dornish climate agrees with me.
Prince Tristan. How's your jaw?
A flea bite.
What are you doing in Dawn?
Looking after the safety of my niece, the Princess Marcella.
And rather than send a raven or speak to me directly, you decided to enter my country in secret and abduct our guest by force. Let us drink to Tommen, the first of his name, King of the Andals and the first men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms.
See? Isn't that funnier? Isn't that hilarious?
Way funnier. I felt like I was watching the Golden Girls.
I mean, seriously, we need to send this recording to HBO and be like, listen, this is how you make a better show. This is your spinoff show right here. Because it's better than this scene. This scene was better than the last 3 weeks, 3 episodes we've had in Dorm. I think. It's an improvement. But it's still awful.
Not hard to be better than a pile of shit. It's fair. This is fair assessment.
This is the weakest story that the show's ever done.
It's so funny because it's
not up to any standard.
Not any standards
of Game of Thrones. This is like NBC level of retarded.
This is bad NBC level of retarded too. It's not even like good average. It's not even average TV. It's like I don't like when they were in the right. Here's what I don't understand. How did they had to know when they were writing it? I mean, sometimes yes, you do have good scripts that get ruined by bad acting and bad directing, as we saw last season with Cersei and Jaime. That happens. That can happen. But the writing's really bad. There are a couple of great scenes in here. I love all the Bronn stuff they've done great with. Even in this episode, even though it's a punchline of a joke, it was still hilarious. But like, how did it go from the scripting room where it was obviously couldn't have been that great to production where when they were filming it and the choreography was bad and like they had to know it was kind of not looking good then. And then it makes it to the editing room and what are they just like, okay, well, crap, we can't go back and reshoot this in Spain because
literally the only way to save this whole thing is just throw a bunch of boobs in it. That's the only thing you could do.
Apparently, yeah. I don't understand because everything. I mean, I will say the Sand Snakes again. We did get a moment or two with them this week, and I was like, okay, well,
stupid.
It was dumb. It was kind of funny. They're playing
zero impact on anything.
They're playing that game you play when you're kids. You know who can smack their hands the hardest. You know, without quitting. Yeah, they did that. See, character development. Right. It really almost does feel like kind of a parody. The fact that Duran is the man, I'll agree. He was great. The actor was great. Mm-hmm. And that character's reaction was great. I loved it.
I don't even mind Ilaria. I think she's actually pretty great. Everything around her and Duran is awful. It's so bad. Bronn's okay. The writing for him has been terrible.
No, the writing for him
Jaime obviously is a great actor. The writing has been atrocious for him.
It's like, oh, hey, well, we want to make peace, so what are your terms? Okay, well, I think we should send Tristan back. Okay, sounds good to me, guys. I don't know.
Look, we got to take the storyline, we got to drag it out back, and we got to mercy kill it.
I don't.
It's suffering.
You do almost want to put it out of its misery because I can't think of a single.
I almost want to take it out back, tie it to a stake, light it on fire, and watch it burn.
Like it's your child.
Like it's my child.
Wow, Austin, that's some pretty strong feelings. So so you're telling me if you had a child this ugly and awful, you would burn them at the stake?
Yeah, maybe they look really scaly or something, and I just thought it was really ugly.
Wow.
Okay.
Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah.
Because this is what this plot line ended up being chalked up to. They could have also done this in one episode. All they had to do was send a letter saying, "Hey, we want Marcella back," and they're like, "Why?" Because I don't feel safe. Okay, the boyfriend can come too. Cool. The only thing I have a question about, though, and there's actually been some discussion online about it, and I wanted to see what you guys thought, whether or not Arya was actually the one who sent the threat. Because they didn't actually say that. You know, Arya, the necklace with the snake, the threat that was sent at the beginning of the season, it was kind of left a little ambiguous. She never really took credit for it.
Of course she did, though.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I would love to think, okay, Austin, I think the obvious answer is yes. I think she did, but I really want to believe that something more interesting is going on somewhere in here.
Really?
Okay? Yes.
You think something interesting is going on with this storyline? What about this storyline has indicated that to you?
Dorne is a crucial point in the books. They haven't touched on any of the reasons it's actually a crucial piece of the puzzle at all. I mean, I think they've alluded to it, but I don't want to have that conversation because it could get into spoiler territory. They've vaguely alluded to Dorne having some role to play, and they do. Other than that, though, it's been pretty shallow. What I actually suspect happened, I'll be honest, the scenes they film in Spain, there's a lot of red tape they had to get around to film anything here. Apparently, it was very difficult. They could only film certain hours a day for a certain extent of time. They were on a very limited clock, so I suspect they had to shoot everything, and they got back to the editing room and they're like, "Shit, this is not good." But we can't cut it because it's got Jaime in it. You know what I mean? And it's Dorne. It's kind of important. I think it had to
have like nothing of Jaime in the season.
Yeah, and you can't do that, and you can't not have Dorne there.
How do you know when you're filming it that it's not going well, though? I mean, surely you review footage every night.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised it didn't get caught somewhere because there's no way when they were in the editing room thinking, man, this is some of the best work we've ever done, or even, man, this is up to par with what we've done before. Like, there's no one who is sitting there. I guarantee you there's no one sitting there thinking, man, this is good stuff.
Maybe they were all just really drunk on sangria and delicious Spanish ham.
Instead of going back to their normal studios, they were editing in Spain after, late night parties and such.
Yeah. They were like, this is great, guys.
One of the most beautiful places in the world. What's up, suckers? But in reality, I think it's got to be something more in line like that. That they didn't realize it was awful until I got to, because and they can't cut it. But I just can't imagine any director or anyone be like, man, this looks good.
I would love to hear an interview about it eventually. They won't say anything for now.
No, it'll be months after it's done. It maybe.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm trying to overanalyze things here or whatever, but I do feel like Prince Dorian was completely playing Jaime. I think that he completely had, and I think it's all about the line that he said, I believe in second chances, but I don't believe in thirds. First chance, Oberyn's sister dies. Second chance, Oberyn dies. Third chance, there is no third chance. And so this is totally Prince Dorian playing Jaime. He has a much more sinister plan than just working it out, but I'm totally I'm trying to force something good coming out of this story.
No, I think that's a very legitimate read. Honestly, I think I think he's playing at something bigger. I just don't know how well that's been executed on the show.
I mean, at least Oberyn's death was nobody's fault but Oberyn's.
It's true.
He volunteered to fight. I mean, maybe they don't view it that way because they're crazy, but it was totally his choice. He volunteered to fight. He won the fight, acted like an idiot, and got his head exploded.
Yep.
That's what happened.
No, I agree. There was another really weird scene that I watched it twice and I could not make heads or tails of it. Was the scene where Arya goes and visits Jaime after the fact, after the negotiations are done, and they start talking about Cersei, and I was like, why Are you trying to get with him? No, clearly not that. Like what?
No, she's threatening.
You just love who you love. I'm very confused by all that. It didn't come across as a threat, though.
It did. I think it did. I think it very much came across as that. She basically said, "Look, maybe Marcella's safe. Maybe you're innocent, but I know that Cersei was responsible for all of this, and she's going to pay." That's what was said there.
Well, if that's the case, I love this scene. This scene just got way better. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, go back and rewatch it with that in mind. I think it'll be clearer there.
I mean, that's an interesting point. I didn't think about it that way at the beginning. I might have to go back and watch it and think about it in that sense, but I didn't really get much out of it. I was sort of feeling like Caleb. I didn't really know why this was there. But
I'm reading into it, but that's what I took out of it.
There has to be something to read from it there, obviously. I just was trying. It was weird because she was talking about loving relationships with Oberyn and how her and Jaime would have been totally accepted in Dorne. I was like, okay, that's weird. And then she's like, sometimes you just love who you love. And I was like, okay. I mean, I guess that also makes about as much sense as anything else I've read out there.
There's something at the end of it she says after she says, basically, like, you may not have even had anything involved with it. It's the way she said that line, the way she delivered it, that insinuated that Cersei was involved, and she has not forgiven that.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I'd love to see Cersei get some more comeuppance, so I'm all down for that. All right, well, now that we've talked about... now that I have crapped on 2 storylines in a row, let's talk about something that was actually exceptional and mind-blowing and great and heartbreaking all at the same time. That's right. We're going to talk about Stannis the Manus.
No, Stannis the Anus. Just to clarify, I've never been a fan of Stannis, so it's not...
No one here has.
No, we have...
None of us have.
To him this year, I think. I think we all warmed up to him a little bit.
We did. We're like, he's respect... If nothing else, we were like, okay, that's respect. He's respectable.
Yes.
Because... for a time, what he wanted and what we wanted were very aligned. He wanted to take back the North, to take down the Boltons. We're all like, yeah. We wanted Ramsay to die. He, at the end of last season, he rescued the Wall. He rescued Jon, and the Knights watched the Wall, and we're like, yeah, that's great. But then we had this. He had to rear his ugly head and remind us that he's in it for the throne, and he will stop at nothing to get that. And I think we forgot about that for a while. And the thing is, for me, he's outside of doing all those good things. He also won us over with like his tactics and respect. Like I was like, man, he's making some like really smart decisions here. Like I think this is very respectable because he is a great leader in that way. He's a great strategist.
And I mean, as sad as this is going to be, like some of the decisions he made or conversations rather that he had with his daughter earlier this season, where he had that very touching moment with her earlier in the season when she was talking about her grayscale and how everyone had said that, she needed to be killed or whatever. And he said, not my daughter. That was a very touching moment. And
they actually make it worse this week because they go back and reference that scene and Shireen quotes it back to him, right. Which makes it awful because you're like, no, don't do it. But hold on. Let's hold our horses. Before we go there, go to those deep, dark places, I want to go ahead and say, guys, allegedly, Ramsay burnt the food and caught it on fire. And all I'm thinking is, wait, he gave that big speech about how we're going to show him how the Northerners really do it, and he fights it like a coward, sneaks in, burns food, and leaves? What the heck, man?
Which is why I have come up with a crazy conspiracy theory that it wasn't him.
Who did it then, Daniel?
Melisandre.
Why?
Because she wants to force Stannis' hand, and she knows that if she forces Stannis' hand, he will make the sacrifice that he needs, because she will tell him that that's what's best. She
likes burning children.
Yep. That's it. Yeah, she wanted to... She tried to... she brought this up, burning Shireen earlier in the season. He said no way, so she made it where he didn't have a choice. I mean, it's fire... She was out in the middle. It looked like it appeared to be at the, around late at night. Most people seem to be sleeping in their tents, but she's up walking around and happens to be there when fire starts. The Lady of Fire. I just think there's something there.
It's possible. I doubt it personally. I think very much that it was Ramsay for sure.
I didn't feel like she seemed that shocked by it.
She walked out of the tent and her eyes lit up.
Has she ever given you a shocked face ever, though?
Because she lit it up with like fire. Like she was the one lighting.
Go back and watch it. She walks out of her tent and sees the flame. She's not just walking. She walks out and there was a hint of surprise there because her eyes got very wide.
I don't know. She worships the god of fire, man, or light.
You just admit it. You don't want to buy me a pop figurehead, okay?
Hey, that has nothing to do with that. I legitimately think that's what happened. However, you don't get one because the deal was when Ramsay raids the camp, and he never raided the camp.
Oh, he did. He did. I'm convinced that he burned the food, raiding the camp, and then and because of that, Shireen died. She died first.
I don't know. He tortured. No, Ramsay would have come in and tortured somebody, flayed their skin or something.
No. I'll give you some borrowed time here. Next episode, if we don't find out specifically who did that, we're calling it Ramsay. Austin?
That's fine.
What do you think?
I think it was Ramsay. I think Shireen died
you guys both
indirectly
think
of Ramsay's actions. I think you won.
In regards to our bet, yeah, you're fine. You can win or whatever. That's fine. I do think that there might be something to this Melisandre thing, because 20 men came into Stannis' camp. Nobody saw them. No guard, nobody.
Well, I do. Yeah. So there's the other aspect of it. I think that's pretty unbelievable.
Somebody had to have seen it.
But I'm chalking that up to poor writing, I guess, because
no, the Northerners, man, they know the land.
Stannis himself brought it up. 20, nobody saw it. I don't know. I think there's something to that. I think it was an inside job.
An inside job by Melisandre to
maybe Ramsay's men are already in the camp. They're still in the camp.
Yeah, maybe they didn't
leave.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good.
What if they're disguising themselves as Stannis' men? They're a bunch of sellswords anyway. He's not going to know who they are. All I'm saying is you're underestimating the North. Okay, they have they've got their Predator camo on, so they blend in with the background at all times because they're the North. Fine, it was weak. I would actually side with Austin. I'd chuck it more up to a little more to weak writing. Although I don't. For me, it's not totally unbelievable. It's pressing it. It's pushing it though. But let bygones be bygones. I'm not gonna. I don't want to just say I won the bet. I want to see if we see something next week that throws us all off, then the bet will change in the favor, and we might have to call it off if it ends up not happening at all. But my argument right now would be that it did happen because of Ramsay and Shireen died. We'll find out next week how that amounts to. But anyway, that aside, Stannis all of a sudden doesn't have any food or supplies, and they have to start butchering horses to feed their men.
Apparently children, too.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
The second that he went to talk to Davos and was like, I want to send you to the wall, I was like, oh no, this is not good sign. This is bad sign. He's sending Davos away because he knows Davos is going to prove. I didn't want to...
And Davos knows it too. That's why he asked.
Yeah, that's why he asked to take Shireen with him, and that's why he gave her the gift. Man, Davos, why do you give me such a good guy?
There's an image that people post online of when he hands her the wooden stag.
Yeah.
It's the camera's position so the stag is right in front of a torch in the background. And, the imagery and the foreshadowing is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely there. I didn't catch it the first time. I was really glad you let me know about that because it's definitely that imagery is right there in your face to see it. Now, so Davos gives her that nice wooden stag that was great, and they talk a little bit about she's reading the Dance of Dragons, which fun little fact for those of you history lesson. That's first and foremost, it's the title of the 5th book of Game of Thrones, and it is a reference to an ancient civil war that was fought between the Targaryens to decide who was going to win the throne. It was a big deal. Anyway, there's all this huge story, and the book plays it up a lot more, of course. It's an ancient civil war fought between the Targaryens, Rhaena, and Aegon II. So, fun fact. There's if you want to read more about it, if you're a diehard Game of Thrones fan, you're really interested in the world and the history there, I definitely recommend you check it out. I believe there's a section on it in the World of Ice and Fire. That's the giant, awesome book that came out earlier this year. And then there's actually a novella series called The Princess and the Queen that Martin has also written that's going to contain a lot more about the so-called Dance of Dragons. So anyway, fun fact, that's what Shireen's reading. Davos rides off to the wall, and then there's that awful scene. We're all waiting for it. We're all thinking, okay, this could happen now. This could really happen.
If you'd had to choose between Rhaenyra and Aegon, who would you have chosen?
I wouldn't have chosen either. It's all the choosing sides that made everything so horrible.
Sometimes a person has to choose. Sometimes the world forces his hand. If a man knows what he is and remains true to himself, the choice is no choice at all. He must fulfill his destiny and become who he is meant to be, however much he may hate it.
It's all right, Father.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Doesn't matter. I want to help you. Is there any way I can help?
Yes, there is.
Good, I want to. I'm the Princess Shireen of House Baratheon, and I'm your daughter.
Forgive me.
You're totally manipulating her, like taking advantage of the fact that she doesn't know what she's about to do, so that she can agree to something that she's not ready to do.
Never needed her to agree to it.
Oh yeah, no, because that whole scene was about him feeling less bad about it. That was exactly what it was. He wanted to find some sort of approval from someone to feel less bad about it. And when he hugs her, I was like, "Ha! You don't get your hands off her! Don't you dare hug her! You're about to burn her alive, you piece of crap!" You son of a bitch. I was so upset, and
I didn't think of it so... I mean, I thought it was weird. He was, like, trying to convince her of it when he's just going to force her to be burned. And he never seemed like a man who really cared that much about, like, validation. So, I don't know. It was kind of a weird scene. It was just to set you up for the greater heartbreak that was to come.
But here's the thing. In my mind, he's not even trying to convince her at that point. He's trying to convince himself. But he's trying to get some sort of validation from her, though. But ultimately, like these things he's telling himself, he's just giving himself that he's drinking his own Kool-Aid right here. He's just telling himself sometimes over and again, "Oh well, I didn't have a choice. I have to be the king because it's my destiny. I don't even want the throne," which is a load of crap, by the way. Because I had people actually tell me that Stannis doesn't even want the throne. I'm like, that is a load of crap. He definitely wants the throne for himself. It's not. I know he's all about duty.
He wants the throne more than Mitt Romney wants to be president.
For every election Mitt Romney loses, frickin' Stannis burns like 18 people. So all I'm saying is, if Mitt Romney really wants to win, he needs to get with Melisandre and they need to start, doing some business. If that's how he wants to win. But I don't buy this whole he doesn't want it thing. I think it's a load of crap. I think that's what he tells himself to feel less bad about everything. I think all these things. I mean, and I think the scene highlights it. The excuses he lays out there that he has no choice and everything. I think it's just a way for him to cope with his horrible actions. And obviously, his daughter's the worst one. But he's been burning people for years. He's been burning people for years in the name of winning the throne because it's his duty.
He's been murdering family members for years because that's what he wants the throne.
And summoning demons.
Yeah, exactly. Like he burned his half brother, and then obviously,
demon vagina assassinated. Yeah,
monster that killed Renly. I mean, he's been doing this.
He tried to kill
for a couple seasons, right?
It's funny because there are a lot of fans out there who are, and I've heard argue several times that he's the most just. He'd make a great one. I'm like, no, he wouldn't. Why would you ever? And this is my argument the whole time. And he has warmed on me this season. My argument the entire time has, why would you ever want to follow someone who would be willing to burn his own people? That's not a good leader. I don't care how good of a strategist or a general you are. That's not good leadership.
No one's devoted to him. No one.
Well, his daughter
was. That's purchased.
Yeah, his daughter was devoted to him, just because that's her father. Yeah. But that was just. I thought that was like an interesting sort of parallel there.
Like his armies, all that stuff.
It's all bought. Yeah, they're all paid off.
They're on him really soon. He's a dead man.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you get, and it's a great time to head into the scene there where you see the looks on his men's face, where they're like, "This ain't good, dude." Like, just go watch back. They're all like horrified of all this. Like, it's messed up.
So, yeah. Do you think they want to go lay siege to Winterfell? They're not going to do that.
For a dude who just burned a kid? Yeah.
They're going to kill Stannis, and then they're going to go on their way.
So, for me, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but this puts Stannis up there on like the most hated, evil characters. So my ranking right now would probably be like Ramsay, Joffrey, Stannis.
I'd still put Stannis above those two, but
you put Stannis above both of them. I might put him above Joffrey.
No. I mean, I think the other two are worse than him because
Stannis is like nowhere near as bad as Joffrey or Ramsay.
No,
both Joffrey and Ramsay never did anything redeeming ever. Stannis at least saved the wall. Like, he's done a few good things.
And I think deep down there somewhere in his twisted sort of morality, he has noble intentions in there somewhere. But they're so intertwined with his own selfish ambitions that he's totally clouded on it.
I would say that they are Joffrey and Ramsay are different class, and there's like a line, and then Stannis would be 3.
The other two are psychopaths. Stannis is not. He is a sane man who has subjected himself to ideas that I don't think he, at least initially, bought into, but he does now because he's desperate. Like, I think he's a sane man who has allowed himself to be corrupted by these crazy ideologies, and he's let his own selfish ambition and drive totally compromise everything good there was about him. That's a different type of evil. They're very different.
Oh yeah, you're completely right. But I would think that I would almost argue that makes it worse in a sense because he completely it's not he completely understands what's happening. Like,
well, no, Ramsay understands what's going on too.
Right, but it's like because it's not that psycho thing. Like he's rational.
What about Melisandre? She's kind of like the demon on the shoulder. She's pretty dang evil, and she's the one who took joy from burning her. She got a smile on her face as she's burning a little girl at the stake, man.
I never have high expectations from religious fanatics, though. I mean, I never really expected much from Melisandre. She's not in a position of power. It's all Stannis. He makes the decisions, and he's choosing to follow her, even though sometimes she's right, sometimes she's wrong. Like, it isn't proven that she can actually, change anything, aside from summoning some sort of strange demon out of her private areas.
We started off hating him because he killed Renly, which, FYI, in retrospect, Renly, out of all the people we've met in Westeros, not that bad of a dude. Really not. I mean, I think he was kind of a little idealistic about his own ambitions, but not a bad dude, right?
Right.
Yeah, he was fine.
He was fine. He wasn't a bad guy. Assassinated, okay, in a really cheap manner by Smoke Monster. We hate him. Okay, then we see he burns people. We really hate him. But then over the last couple let's not forget. He tried to kill Gendry, sacrificed him to the Lord of Light. Davos saves him. Okay, and then let's remember, he also was very seriously considering killing Davos for doing that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But then, for some reason, the show did a magnificent job at warming us to him slowly but surely, and it comes crashing down here. It's just hard. It's hard to swallow this arc where this guy almost redeems himself in a way, and then just totally throws it all out the window.
So I feel very differently, I think, than Stahl, in that I didn't feel that emotionally affected by what happened. I felt more validated that I was right about Stannis. That is the important thing here.
The Austin was right.
The child died is that I was correct and Stannis is an asshole.
Austin, all of the Stannis the Manus fans we have are outside your door right now, torches and pitchforks. That's all I'm saying.
Down with Stannis the Manus. Long lived Bran the Man.
We are now locked in a battle between the Boltons and Stannis, and as much as I really want the Boltons to go down, I would not be upset if Stannis lost. Not at all. Which is really sad, because I really want to see the Boltons go. We don't even know if we don't know if burning Shireen's actually going to work.
Right.
We never even got strong confirmation that it worked in the past, because she burned the slugs, okay. Yes, Joffrey bit it, and yes, Robb Stark bit it, but it seemed, especially if you go back and watch it, it seems that was stuff that was already kind of in the works anyway. So was it the Lord of Light, or was it just coincidence, for one?
He also promised he would win Blackwater. He did not.
Exactly. He did lose Blackwater. But that was because she wasn't there with him. Okay, Austin?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, she has to be there, man.
Right.
I mean, she wasn't there to work her magic, so he lost.
He wants to kill Renly. That works. Somehow. We're not sure how that works, but it worked.
Balon Greyjoy was on that list of leeches, too.
And he's not dead yet.
About him.
He's not dead yet.
Right.
Or at least, I guess we haven't heard from him in like 3 seasons, so I guess for all we know.
Who knows if he's dead?
Yeah.
He might have died of old age by now.
At this point, yeah. Greyjoy's out there, Austin, somewhere. Do you guys think that this is actually going to bear any sorts of fruits or results for him in the battle at all?
No. I think this is his downfall. This is what kills him finally. And I think it's mutiny.
I think it might have to... I don't know. I have a hard time believing this is going to work.
I think his men abandoned him. I really do. I just the looks on their faces. It was not the morale of an army that would want to follow him. And again, I just want to point this out. Let's say he does win. Okay, let's say he does go and he does win. Who is gonna want to follow the dude who, in public, burned his own daughter? Who is going to want that as their king? No one. Not a single person is going to want to do that.
Well, yeah. You remember the Mad King? Yeah, he was burning people right and left, and that's what ultimately got him killed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point. I've been surprised there hasn't been, with all the burning that Stannis has done, I've never really drawn the parallel until this last week about the burning. You know what I mean? Like, because the Mad King burned, obviously that was bad. So how do you justify burning all these other people at the stake? I guess it just seems kind of weird to me. Guys, let's go ahead and move on to a significantly more optimistic and higher hope note. Dragons. They've returned, finally, Drogon, in the fighting pits. Yes, this was a super exciting scene. Lots of fun, lots of build-up, lots of spectacle here. So, I just love how Game of Thrones, even in the midst of their giant spectacle and action set pieces, are still able to have these really great conversations, banter and conversations. So before they even get into the duels, you have Hizdahr, or we'll just call him Lenny Kravitz. Him and Dario and Dany and Tyrion all have like a little bit of they all have a conversation, and Dario's trying to talk about how you always pick the skinny guy because he was a skinny guy, right? And then that dude proceeds to get decapitated, and it was hilarious.
That was one of the funniest things to happen this season, actually.
Yeah.
It's so hilarious.
It was good. So irony. And then notice that Dario did not say anything for the rest of the episode.
The way he walks away was perfect. He's like, crap. And he just walks away.
Yeah. And then you get a really great back and forth between Tyrion and Lenny over there as they kind of talk about like some philosophy, differing philosophies they have, and I love it. I love Tyrion so much.
You don't approve? There's always been more than enough death in the world for my taste. I can do without it in my leisure time.
Fair enough. Yet it's an unpleasant question. But what great thing has ever been accomplished without killing or cruelty?
It's easy to confuse what is with what ought to be, especially when what is has worked out in your favor.
I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the necessary conditions for greatness.
That is greatness?
That is a vital part of the great city of Meereen, which existed long before you or I, and will remain standing long after we have returned to the dirt.
My father would have liked you.
The dynamic he's going to provide to this storyline is so needed in Daenerys' storyline right now, because she's so stagnated and we're not seeing the conquering and all that stuff now, which really provided the excitement for her storyline. You need someone witty and smart and can carry a scene, and that's exactly what he's going to provide. I'm so happy he's there now.
And this is, and not to say that his scenes last. Not to say that his scenes have ever been even lackluster or even plateaued. He's always been great, but I feel like this is some of the best material he's had in a long time. Obviously he had the trial last season. He's always had great material, but I don't know. The scenes here, I am eating up every single line. He's just tossing this whole new world and is having to debate these philosophies. It's so great. It's so great. It's so smart. I didn't catch it the first time. Second time I caught it, and I want to see what you guys thought. Hizdahr shows up late, and he's like, "Oh, what are we doing?" I was taking care of business, which I didn't catch the first time, but had I caught it, probably would have tipped me off to, so he's up to no good, right? Like, maybe.
Yeah, I thought that. I immediately thought that when I saw that, but it doesn't make sense with what happens later.
Yeah, exactly. He gets but anyway, we'll get to that, I guess. But yeah, so then Jorah shows up. He's determined to fight for Dany. And there's a great, I have to hand it to Emilia Clarke. The amount of expression and confusion she was able to express in about 5 seconds of camera time when she saw Jorah was just awesome.
Yeah,
she
definitely.
looks conflicted as all get out about what to do. And it was great. She still cares a lot about him. You can tell.
Definitely agree with you there. I think she did a really nice job with, communicating what she was feeling without having to say anything.
And despite being Team Jorah all the time, I think she made the right decision by having the fight go on. Tyrion's like, you can stop the fight, especially when Jorah was losing. She could have stopped it because she cares about Jorah, right? But no, she let it go because she knew that she had to be a queen of her word, so to speak. Like she said last...
yeah, and if Jorah wants to be an idiot, let him be an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. I want to raise the point that I think Jorah was moving a little slow here because grayscale. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think he definitely seemed to not be on his A game with his fighting, and I think that he's, him being sick is definitely impacting that for sure.
Just all around, the fighting this season has not been that great. Everybody's looking really poor with their abilities.
I would say
that he was on point with that throw, though.
Oh yeah. What a great shot!
I thought he was aiming for Hizdahr. I thought for sure he was dead.
Oh no, me too. I thought he was aiming for Hizdahr as well.
360 no scope.
And then when you saw he hit one of the Sons of the Harpy, you're just like, whoa, that was ultra impressive.
So here's the real question about this scene. The whole sequence, rather. How in the heck did they get all these golden masks? Where the crap did they get all this crap from?
Well, they were hiding them under the robes. They're big robes.
Yeah, but somebody's making all these things.
Yeah, man.
They got a whole freaking factory.
In fact, the underground, man, they have an underground assembly line, all right?
I'm just saying, man, something's up with that.
Somebody's making a lot of money.
It was crazy how many of them just showed up out of nowhere, though. I mean, they were all sitting in the audience waiting.
Maybe that's Dario's game. He's not really involved in the Harpies per se. He's just making masks and selling them.
That's what he's doing. That's really what he's at. He doesn't care about who wins. He just wants to sell the masks. He's running a sweatshop down in Lower Marine, making these masks and then selling them at High Point. Despite the outcome this week, I still don't fully trust Daario. He's tied to this somehow. I just don't know how yet. That's beside the point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't trust Daario. I think that he might have his hand in this in some way.
Somehow. Well, I thought Hizdahr was behind it, obviously, and they even set that up, and it was really strange. And then, he gets stabbed to death.
Well, did he die for sure? He definitely got stabbed. I didn't see him die.
You see him on the ground. He wasn't dead, but he was bleeding out pretty thick. So I mean, he could still make it.
It was a ruse. The Harpies faked the death.
You know who else was pretty awesome during this fight? Tyrion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sutting throats.
Ass taking names.
Doing it the dwarven way.
He didn't even need a shield this time.
No shield. Tyrion knows how to fight. Everyone always gives him crap, but he knows how to fight. All right.
Yeah, he's a brawler.
Yeah. Now, the thing I wanted to point out though, the Sons of the Harpy were actually killing both the wealthy and the not so wealthy. Right. He was killing the royals as well. If you go back and watch again, they kill everybody. It doesn't matter. So clearly their agenda is not necessarily in favor of the rich. We really don't. These people are unpredictable at this point. We don't know anything about them. They have their targets seem kind of random at this point, other than to cause chaos. Is really the thing.
They're terrorists.
Well,
that's what they are.
Yes, it's true. That's exactly what they are. But even terrorists have some sort of goal, right?
Well, yeah. Generally, their goal is to cause chaos, strike fear into people, and destabilize a government, which is exactly what the Sons of the Harpies are trying to do.
And I guess they don't really care. I guess no real friends of the Sons of the Harpy. They're
trying to make the entire rich, poor doesn't matter. They're trying to make everyone uncomfortable and unhappy with the government.
Because look what's happening. Dany can't be our ruler. She can't control this. Just give everybody a reason to not like Dany.
Kind of steal her power there. Well,
there was a really nice. I don't know. I'm Team Jorah with you, Caleb. So maybe. But there was a nice moment when him and Dany held hands and ran off into the little arena. She grabbed his hand, and yeah, it's nice.
I hope there's forgiveness there. That's all I ask. Okay, I know
there was, man. That's what the hand holding.
Well, I won't believe it until I hear it. But
I hope she's a woman of her word and just beheads him.
No, here's the thing, Austin. Here's why I don't get you, Austin. Almost every character in the show dies without a shot of redemption. This was not a man who was purely ever evil intentionally. He just did some things. He made some mistakes. and I think he wants to make up for them. He is one of the few characters in this show who has a shot at redeeming himself before he dies, because obviously he's facing certain death at the grayscale. So it's exciting because we really don't get that in Game of Thrones ever. Every time a character starts to get redeemed, like Theon, he's coming to a realization about some stuff. Oh, let's castrate him and beat the heck out of him for an entire season, and
you're starting to like Stannis. He now kills his daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, you're starting to like. Oh, they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how the show goes. So to see a guy who is fighting so hard to get some sort of like reconciliation or forgiveness, I want to see it. I want to see someone get something satisfying before they die, because he's going to die. There's no question about it.
I don't get you, Caleb. It's Game of Thrones. It's not going to happen, man. You never get what you want.
Well, before we were able to get real confirmation, she did fly away on a dragon. So there's that. But no, I okay. And outside of just that, I did like that moment quite a bit. I'm Team Jorah, and I really am curious to see where they go with that character now, because I was so sure he was dead. So the fact that he's not dead leads me to believe he could actually stick around for another season, which is, I promise you guys, I was fully
and infect the entire city of Meereen.
Well, they're going to leave anyway, so it's cool.
just sow a plague throughout the city and then take off.
Well, they need to get like a minister, an alchemist, or something to like extract the grayscale to make some sort of
biological weapon.
Yes, exactly, a bioweapon to use on the Sons of the Harpy. Give them all grayscale.
You could rub blankets all over the grayscale people and then give the blankets to the Sons of the Harpies in the true American fashion.
Terrorists, your game is through, 'cause now you have to answer to America. Fuck yeah, so lick my blood and suck on my balls. America, fuck yeah, what you gonna do when we come for you now?
Earlier in the season, the Star Wars parallels, they just keep coming, okay? So, these Unsullied fought like the frickin'... They fought like the Jedi in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones in the arena. You're like, oh my gosh, Jedi, they're the best fighters in the universe, and they get slaughtered because...
Oh, there's only 20 left.
And then, in true Star Wars fashion, when they're all the Jedi are backed into the corner protecting their queen, Yoda shows up with the clone trooper reinforcements, lands in, picks her up, and flies off. Exactly like Attack of the Clones. What did you guys think? Was this the hurrah moment right here, where Daenerys gets up, mounts her dragon, and starts roasting dudes and chopping dudes in half?
It was cool. However, I think that this whole like Sons of the Harpy thing...
Don't do this. Don't do this. You're going to try to crush this scene. It's going to make me so sad, Stall.
Okay, Sons of the Harpy thing coming out and stuff like that. I think that this shows like how Dany really didn't know what she was doing, and all these decisions that she made were just leading up to this. Yes, she did get saved, and it was awesome by her dragon. But I think that this really shows that she doesn't know how to lead. And I know we've talked about this a lot, but just even the decisions she made that we thought were kind of maybe positive, like she went to marry this guy, and all.
He's dead.
We thought maybe this is a good decision, and it doesn't seem to. It didn't help at all. And,
well, decapitating the slave in public didn't exactly work either.
Right, exactly. So we thought maybe she was making some stronger decisions, sticking to her guns a little bit. This kind of just shows that nope, that she really does not know how to have this under control. The battle itself was really awesome and cool. We get to see this dragon come out of a fireball, flying out of this fireball out of the sky to save Dany and just burn people alive. It was awesome and fantastic, and going to be very memorable. But I do think that before all that,
what you're really wanting to say here is, man, that scene was awesome. She's still not good at leading, but man, that was awesome.
Yes, that's exactly how.
Look, you know what happened in the scene? Dany realized what she needed to realize. The answer to everything is motherfucking dragons. That's how you solve your problems.
And she's like, screw everybody. I'm peace out later, guys.
This city's going to crap. All right. Jorah, you're back. Tyrion, you're pretty smart. Hey, Grey Worm, you get the bronze, and Dario, you get the bronze. I'm taking off. Peace out. You take care of the city for me. I also want to point out Daenerys also had a scene with Melisandre right before the dragon showed up. That whole like, we're doomed. Let's just go ahead and walk into death.
She was telepathically calling the dragon.
That's what I thought was happening. I thought that she was like, I didn't see it as like a death thing, but then when she responded to the dragon being there, I didn't think that's what she was doing anymore.
I thought that's what she was doing at first too, but then she was like surprised. She was like, "Oh, hi."
She doesn't have that power yet. Okay. They fly off into the sky, and then the music starts playing, and then it leads in, and Falcor's back. I knew it. I knew it. I've been waiting for a never-ending story sequel for years, and I finally found it. Game of Thrones.
And that's a good point, though. Like this was really a spectacular scene, and it was really cool to experience and stuff. But where's she flying? What does this actually do? Like, I don't know. I was really confused on where this is going to go.
It proves she's a real Targaryen. They talked about this in a couple episodes ago, didn't they? When they were talking about Targaryens, not every single one could tame a dragon, and that was the mark of being a real Targaryen, was being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I just feel okay, so she's gonna fly. She's flying off on this dragon. Is she gonna fly back, land back in there, and then they're all gonna be like, "Oh, she flew. We're all good now. The city's good." What's the plan?
Well, I don't think there was a plan. It was kind of a surprise because she wasn't expecting him. We don't know what the plan is, and maybe, and in her defense, would you know what the plan is if a dragon just showed up? I mean, it's not that simple.
No, you're right. I just see how, yes, she has this awesome dragon and she's going to ride on him or whatever. But from her perspective of her story in Meereen, I don't know how she's going to move forward.
Just throws her stupid throne out and she just sits on the dragon constantly in the middle of her castle, or walks around the city while riding her dragon. And if anyone gives her crap, she just burns them. This is fantastic. It's the perfect answer to all her problems.
I don't think she stays in Meereen. I think she leaves. I think she's going to find the Sons of Harpy are too hard to control. There's a whole lot of stuff going on there. So anyway, I'm not quite convinced that. I think she comes back, but I don't. I think this is where she finally gets the heck out of Meereen. I don't think she sticks around. Just personal thought.
You guys really think that?
Think that what?
You think that she leaves now after this occurred?
She's gonna leave. She might do something, but she's going to leave. Yes, I'm convinced.
I would be surprised if she left the city without getting it under control.
Because she's got Jorah and Tyrion there who are pushing her really hard to not be there. Well,
maybe she doesn't stay in Meereen, but I don't think there's any way she goes to Westeros yet.
Bar one last scene, we are fully caught up on Daenerys' storyline, guys. So we're about to hit uncharted territory with her very, very soon. So this was definitely one of the big definitive moments a lot of us readers have been waiting for. Was she mounting the dragon? And Austin, I actually tend to agree with you. I think this is a sort of rite of passage as a Targaryen leader. And I think this is a big moment for her. Even though I'm not her biggest fan, I think Daenerys is on her way to do really great things. And I think she can use this dragon maybe to get people under control a little bit. I mean, wouldn't you be a little terrified about dragons? We got 2 seasons left, guys. She's going to next season is traveling to Westeros, season 7, Westeros. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
And that's assuming that there is going to be 7 seasons. It could still be a lot longer. Well, listener out there, we've talked a lot. We've talked about burning kids. We've talked about burning Unsullied, and we've talked about arena battles. I want to know what you think about all these subjects. This is a very, very important episode. This is not we're questioning. And if you say you're okay with burning kids, well, shame on you. But I want to know what you think about Stannis burning kids. Is this justice? Is this justifiable? Is it right? We spent 20 minutes crapping on him. But feel free to share your opinion where you disagree.
Hey, Caleb, where can all these people tell us how right we are about Stannis?
Austin, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked indeed. Well, first and foremost, if you're listening to us on our host We Got This Covered's website, we have a lovely little comment section right below the little video and link here. I'd highly recommend you post down there, and we would love to respond and read your responses on air, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. And if that doesn't quite float your boat, or you're listening to us while you're on a run or while you're out and about, you can always check us out on Facebook.com/CastBeyondTheWall, where you can go ahead and give us feedback on there. We do a lot of posts about a lot of stuff. If you're tweeting with the birds and the ravens, you can hop on Twitter and follow us at cast_beyond_GOT. And most importantly, if you really think what we're saying about Stannis is right or wrong, you should hop on the iTunes. The most important way you can support the show and let us know what you think is by subscribing, giving us a rating, giving us a star rating or a review, telling us why we're so wrong or right about Stannis.
Mostly how we're right.
No, well, of course we're all right. We're all right. But about that Arya storyline.
I'm the most right.
He's got a beard. Don't trust anyone with beards. Oh, wait, Austin's got a beard too. Well, crap.
Well, Caleb's the least right.
I have
at
the
least
least.
we could all agree on that.
No, whoa. I have the least beard. It means I'm most honest, okay? You don't trust men with beards. So let's go ahead and I think that we had a great little chat here about the infamous episode 9, The Dance with Dragons. But let's go ahead and wrap the show by talking about next week's episode, Mother's Mercy.
What are you gonna do?
I was lonely and afraid.
We don't choose whom we love.
The Lord of Light has made good on his promise, my king.
Siege begins at sunrise.
You're no one.
You betrayed her.
If I'm going to die, let it happen while there's still some of me left.
All right, guys. So this lovely little synopsis might be the best yet.
It's really detailed.
Super. Stannis marches. Dany is surrounded by strangers. Cersei seeks forgiveness. And Jon is challenged. I guess before we go any further, I do want to point out this has a very ambiguous title. Mother's Mercy. Now, if you were listening carefully a couple weeks ago, back when Cersei got locked up in the prison, the High Sparrow mentioned Mother's Mercy as it's kind of a way to get out of your sentence by the Sparrows. So that's one meaning. A second meaning could be, I don't know,
the Mother of Dragons.
Mother of Dragons, Daenerys. It could be Cersei Lannister, mother to Tommen. It could also refer to, maybe it could be Shireen's mother having some regrets, so she decides to have mercy on Stannis by killing him. Wouldn't that be lovely? And maybe Jon Snow's mother. Ooh, guys. I don't know how.
No, they would.
I have no idea how this would work, but maybe they tell us who Jon Snow's mother is. I don't know how it would work at all in any way.
Yeah, that's not gonna, because no one up there knows.
That we know of.
No one up there knows.
Could Qyburn be considered a mother of Frank and Clegane, who I fully expect to be in the next episode?
I do want to point out, though, in past years, episode 10, particularly last year, was great, where it had the title was The Children, and you had all sorts of children in that. You had the Children of the Forest, with Jojen and Bran, and then you had, the best Father's Day gift, the best Father's Day gift of all time, Tyrion murdering his father in the toilet.
Have we had any major characters die? Barristan? We don't really consider major.
Nah, he's more of like a tier 2 character, or maybe borderline tier 3.
I would like to
this has been like an uneventful season from that perspective.
I would like to point out at the beginning of the season, I said that I thought this would be a less like major death filled.
I'm trying to think. Have we not seen anyone? We haven't. No, I mean Jaime's good, Cersei's good,
and I think that's one of the reasons I feel like nothing's happened is nobody's died. I've come to expect so many people to die.
People have died, just not major characters.
Not major characters. Well, I mean Beth, when she was on a couple episodes ago, did say this season lacked a paradigm shift. Now, I would argue Hardhome was that pulled that off without actually having to kill anybody.
A major character.
Hey, Lord of Bones, he died. He's super important.
It's true.
I did like him.
Mance Rayner died. I mean, I know he was a
that one's fair. He's a major character. That's fair.
The biggest character. I think that's died.
I think so. He's pivotal. He wasn't in the show very much, but he carried so much weight and importance that his death meant something.
That's a fair one.
That's about all we got, though. I think, yeah. And season 3, we lost all the Starks, the Red Wedding.
I mean, I guess they could. I don't feel like any storylines are, except for the maybe Stannis storyline, where it's really set up for a lot of people to die.
I mean, they could lose the Boltons here soon.
God, if Boltons and Stannis killed each other, that'd be so great. I'd love it so much.
I mean, there's potential to lose Brienne, because you think she's probably going to fight this next
episode. She could.
Yeah, but I feel like none of those characters would have like a huge like an Oberyn response or a Robb response. Like none of those characters.
If Brienne died, 100% would be very, very.
There would be a lot
everyone would be sad.
There'd be some pretty upset. Now, it wouldn't be. It would be quite the shift in storytelling, because her stories have always been kind of like.
Right. That's what I mean.
But people, we all love Brienne, even if her story is not interesting. We love her. That's okay. True. I want Varys to show back up. He hasn't been anywhere this season.
There's a lot they have to wrap up this next episode.
Littlefinger.
Yeah, what's Littlefinger been up to? I guarantee we're gonna catch up with Littlefinger somewhere in here. Varys and Littlefinger haven't made an appearance.
So the major
Surprise,
things.
there's
I think the
11
major
episodes.
things this next episode are King's Landing and Winterfell, right? And something at the Wall. Something's going to happen at the Wall too.
Okay. So Wall, King's Landing, and Winterfell are going to be the big one. I think that's pretty fair.
I think Marine we're just going to touch on just a minute. I don't think we're going to spend much time.
And Braavos, and I'm sure we'll touch on... Yeah, Marine, I think we're just going to touch on Marine a little bit. Dorne, while I don't like it, they still have some things to tie up there a little bit.
Think so? I feel like we're done there.
Maybe.
But you're right about Arya. That has to happen next episode. There's a lot they have to do. I'd be surprised if they're able to do it all justice.
Surprise!
Well,
it's a 15-episode season.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but I would say it's safe to bet there's going to be at least one cliffhanger. I would say at least one.
I'm already left hanging from last season about Bran. I've been looking forward to that for a long time. I'm not going to get it for another year.
Yeah, not 2 years. Season 7. Do we have any other expectations for what we can expect in the finale, guys?
Kevin Lannister, hopefully.
Kevin Lannister, all right. I want to see some Varys and Littlefinger. I'm down for both of those.
It's just Franklin Clegane.
Franklin Clegane.
That's it. That's all I need.
That's all you need in your life? A little bit of Franklin Clegane? Okay,
I want to confirm that's what's happening.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we have good... I think that Franklin Clegane's a pretty good possibility, especially since they set it up and teased it earlier this season. All right. Well, everybody, that's been a show, and what an show it has been. We are super excited to get back to you guys and talk about episode 10 next week. Please go ahead and make sure to leave feedback and let us know what you think so we can go ahead and get your thoughts on the season before we wrap up for another year. A very long wait that is coming for all of us, and we can't escape it. And I want to remind you guys, you can, of course, find all the rest of our podcast on WeGotThisCovered.com, and you can find my entire body of work on my online portfolio at CalebMasters.net. All right, everybody. Well, it's been so much fun. I can't wait to talk about episode 10 when we go back beyond the wall.
I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around here, I'll make them all day. I get one down in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm clocking that game. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name. All I wanna do is say 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 my name. Pirates, skulls and bones, sticks and stones and weed and bombs, running when we hit 'em. Lethal poison for the system. Pirates, skulls and bones, sticks and stones and weed and bombs, running when we hit 'em. Lethal poison for the system. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me on my banner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going hell, just pumping that gas. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Hit me on my banner, prepaid wireless. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. Already going hell, just pumping that gas. All I wanna do is say my name. All I wanna do is say my name. All I wanna do is say my name. All I wanna do is say my name.
Does he lose his other hand?
No.
Oh,
Maybe.
Well, they caught him masturbating, so they cut off his fingers on that hand.
All I'm gonna say
He
is
tries to masturbate with his golden hand and just rips it off.
Oh, wow. Okay. Ignoring that.